If you stay above 300, you can, no cap. I hate how I just said that. Second. What is going on, boys and girls of YouTube? Smite 2 has been going through some pretty drastic settings changes. When I say settings, I mean they're adding certain things to the game that are supposed to be tailored towards new players, and they're on by default. With that happening, and just the fact that I've never made a settings video, I feel like now is the time that I have to have a settings video. I think everyone has settings they need to change now, which is probably the first time ever. Most of the time I said, there's preference, there's other things involved, but a lot of it was just, you decided what you wanted on. It really didn't affect your gameplay. Now it affects your gameplay drastically. It's kind of ridiculous, to be honest. So I'm going to try to show you the settings to change and show you what they look like if you do or don't change them. Start off with, we got video settings. This is going to be fully computer based. You have to play around with this. I have a 5090 currently. Before I was playing on a 4090, and I don't play max. I've never played max. Max runs really weird even on high-end computers, so I would not recommend it. I run high. These are my settings. This is all preference, 100% preference. You can copy it if you have a slightly lower end PC, maybe go down to medium, but all my lows I leave low. Effects detail is the one that I think you need to have on low. I think there's no reason to have this up with the way the game is. It's way too flashy and it interrupts your ability to see what is going on. So I have effects low regardless, and I 100% recommend having it on low regardless. Another preference for me is brightness. My brightness is up a little bit. I also use an NVIDIA control panel setting that you can change. I've made a short on it. I've done a bunch of stuff on it. You bring up your NVIDIA control panel, colors, go to the bottom, and you change your digital vibrance. Its default value is 50%. I play on 75%. Some of my friends play on 100. That's what makes my game more vibrant. Some people say it's they're like, why is the contrast? Is that it's just digital vibrance, 25% or 75%. I think it looks better on all games. I just leave it on all the time. I like it. Then I also have my brightness turned up. Another must change for you, motion blur. There's no reason to have motion blur on. It shouldn't be defaulted in any game. I genuinely, maybe for like single player, gives you the feel I'm in the game type of thing. But for competitive games, this should be default off. I don't know why it's not. Outside of that, it's going to be computer setup based. Most of the time you don't have VSync on. Sometimes you need it if you have a lower end computer. I have NVIDIA Reflex on. This is going to be computer based. This is the next ones that are must change. So this changes how easily you can see your abilities. So I'm at 60%. You can see this is what my 2 looks like. That's what my alt looks like. If I turn this setting up to 100, it looks like this. You can see it's a little bit deeper. It's not drastic on Agni, but on gods like Merlin, Poseidon, any gods where you're in people's faces, it does change a lot. Like it adds a lot more solid coloring is how I would describe it to your abilities. So I also change my teammates' abilities to make them more see-through, right? I don't need to see a really thick line for my abilities or my teammates' abilities when they're landing. They aren't like, I can see enough if it's something I need to stand in, or if it's like a heal on the ground or whatever, or if it's my own ability, I know where it's gonna land. It's obvious. Enemy, I keep at 100. I want to know exactly where their stuff is. I want it to be very, very apparent. So these are other changes I think are must changes in my opinion. I would never take this off 100, and I would lower this to whatever's comfortable for you. Ragdoll turn off. You don't need to see minions flying away. It just messes with your FPS even more. And then these are more preference and PC based settings. I'm not capped on FPS. If you're struggling, if your FPS bounces a lot, like you go from 200 to 100 to 200 to 100, lower it. Put it on whatever your monitor setting is, 140, 150, whatever it is. Lower it to that. If you are sitting around 200, 240, but sometimes you get a 300 and bounces, drop it, locking it at 240. If you stay above 300, you can, no cap. I hate how I just said that. Second settings, audio, 100% preference. I don't listen. I've never ever had the music on in any game I play, so my music is off. I have my global set lower, and then I change these quips. I can't even hear. I don't know. I have them on max, and I still can't hear them. I don't know what's up with that. I don't know if yours is the same. I don't know if it's a bug. That's a high res problem, not mine. That's why I don't even use quips, because I can't hear them. So those are my audio settings. Gameplay settings, I really only change 3 things that are must changes. The rest are going to be preference. I use instant cast. I do heavily recommend eventually getting to the point where you're playing on quicker instant cast. Normal cast is fine. Normal cast is actually better than quick cast on the first ability, because if you're walking around ready to drop your ability, you actually use it quicker. It's weird, but overall, instant cast is the fastest. It just, if you aren't accurate with it, don't run it. And then quick cast is the faster than normal and a little more accurate than instant, so it's like the middle ground. I use instant on every ability in the game. I've also played the game way too much, so yeah. The first setting you have to turn off is restricted camera pitch. Restricted camera pitch changes the way your camera works. So right now I can look straight down, I can look straight up. If you turn on restricted camera pitch, let me get a gameplay. Restricted camera pitch on, that's all the way up. That's max up right there. You see I hit, and that's max down. Up, down, up, down. Can't go any more than that. This is a default setting. It is a terrible setting in my opinion. And every time I talk about this on stream, someone's like, well, why do I need to look up? Why do I look at this? So first of all, if you're capped at looking up or down, you can't get a good angle for stuff like ulting on top of yourself or autoing somebody right on top of you. This is far better to see what you're doing. If you're stuck here and I'm in this thing's face, or something's going on, I'm up against the wall, it's very weird to try to hit abilities from here. But if I can look straight down and I'm bouncing in and off the wall, I get a different angle. I can see better. That's number 1. Number 2, if Thanatos, Thor, Nuwa, whatever's in the air, I can look up. I can see where Nuwa is about to come down at. I can see where Thor's looking to see if he's going to ult me. I can see where Thanatos is going. I can see what Rama's looking at. Like, you have a lot more value there. It also goes further than just straight up in the air abilities. A lot of other characters, Aladdin coming off of walls, if you're next to a wall and he's up, coming around, you hear him. This is what you'll see if you're hard locked, restricted. And if you want to look up, you can look up if you're not restricted. So turn it off. It's a bad setting. No reason to have it on. So that's the main for the first part. Sensitivity is up to you. If you play on a mouse and keyboard and you arm aim, which is moving your whole arm, you should play on a low sensitivity. I play 5 and I play 800 DPI. If you don't know DPI on mouse, look it up. It's basically just a second level of sensitivity, so you can have consistency across all your games. Don't worry too much about that. Make sure you're either at 800 or 1600. Be lower end, don't be higher end. If you wrist aim, meaning you aim like this, you pick up your mouse, you don't really move your arm at all, you probably want to play on a little bit higher sense, usually like double to triple what you would if you're arm aimer. And then if you're on controller, you have to find the highest sensitivity that you are very consistent with. High sensitivity is better, but it's harder. Controller has that downside. And then the last thing is action camera. I will show you action camera. Even if you're new to the game, they think this will be an easier transition for FPS players. If I get on the game and this is what it looked like, I would get off so fast. I would get off so fast. And you can aim up and down for some reason. It makes no sense. You can't auto people in the air. If someone jumps up in the air, like on her, or that you're playing a character that literally leaps off the ground and they're up in the air, you can't auto them like this. It doesn't hit. It cannot hit. You can only hit something that is like this. It makes no sense at all. I also don't use a crosshair because I think they're bad. So like, I can't even see where I'm aiming right now. This is a terrible setting. It is on by default for new players. Turn it off right away. It's under gameplay. It's at the bottom. Do not play on this. Like, imagine trying to play the game like that when this is the point of view I have against it. Also, I'm missing my line. I think there's a bug for some reason in practice. We'll talk about that in a second. It's under usability, I think. So we'll talk about that in a second. So UI is the next thing. I use default store layout, and then I use minimal on the grid detail and the pop-up detail. This is preference. I do think the default store layout is the best by far. Another thing is self nameplates. Self nameplates puts a nameplate above your head, so you can see your health and your name. I don't like this. Why do I need my health and my name here? Why do I need my name here ever? Why do I need my health here when my health is right here? There's no need for it. It's more disruptive and in the way than anything. I mean, if there's something on the ground right here, it literally blocks it. There's no reason to have this on either. I see it on a lot, and I also think that's really, really bad. The game is so much cleaner and you have so much more vision. There's nothing in your way. it makes no sense to have it on, in my point, or in my opinion. That's really it for UI. Everything else is preference stuff, whether you want your legacy name, whether, you know, nameplate size is lower, bigger. If you have that on, you should probably make it lower. I think you should just have it off. Floating numbers, I think, are sick. The additive floating numbers, that's where if you have a dot on something, and let me put a god in here. So if I dash this, the number stacks and adds up. I think that change is one of the best changes they've made in a long time. And that's they said it's a new player change, like to be easier on new players. It's just better in general. Now the last thing, usability. There's a couple here. Once again, a bunch of the stuff is preference. If you're new to the game, you're probably gonna have auto build and auto skill on, so you can process the basics. You're probably gonna have helpful tips on, because it's gonna tell you where you probably should be pathing if you're brand new. If you're not brand new and you're only a little new, probably turn this off. And then you should use Smite Source over auto build. SmiteSource.com is the website I run. I take the best builds that everyone runs in their roles, and I put it on the website, and I update it with each patch. Auto build is out of date. It was out of date within like a week or two. It works. It's not the end of the world, but it's not good, and it's nowhere near optimal. Auto skill is usually fairly accurate, not always perfect, but usually pretty good. That doesn't change all that often, so that's fine. So I use the distance line indicator. For some reason, it's not showing. So this is the ruler. Most people will play on ruler if you use quick cast or instant cast, because they need to know the distance of abilities and items. This is basically showing, this is almost like Vulcan distance. And I don't know, a bunch of my settings are not showing right now. I just realized that. Let me this should be an arrow too. There we go. So I normally play like this. Let me show you guys how I normally play, because for some reason it was bugged. All right, so this is the line, and here's my arrow targeter. This is how I usually play on. I think this is just the best. It shows you where your ability is going to hit. That is the circle, and it shows you your max distance. You have to know your abilities distances. Some are different. So like, you know, my 2 is not going to land. My 2 doesn't go all the way to the end of there, where like my ult can go a little bit further, so it's going to go past the end of there. You have to learn that stuff. I was telling you my preference. I would put line on. Ruler is the other one people run when they don't know the distance on their abilities, because they can just check them and see the distance. See the range is 8 meters. So if you have the ruler on, you can see the meters. That's ideal for like 90% of the player base that's swapping to quick or instant cast. Probably use ruler till you have it memorized. I just memorize the abilities as I've played the game, and if a new god comes out, it takes me like 2 minutes to memorize the distance on the abilities. I don't know why, so my brain works. So I use ground targeter as arrow. You can use whichever one you want. I think the arrow is the best. Shows you where your ability is going to land, or the center of your ability is going to land. I think that's really good. They added some new stuff. Dynamic aim reticle. You should turn this off. It adds the sound. Turn it off. Just turn it off. That's enough of a reason to turn it off. Please turn it off. And then the last thing is, I'm trying to find it. It's enemy damage highlight. It's this. So this makes them glow white when you hit them. And it's honestly really bad and really distracting, especially if you're playing the character with any kind of AoE dot damage where it's going to keep ticking. You turn it off, that's what it looks like. Like, you know you're hitting them. You see the numbers. They have an animation whenever they get hit. Like, there's no reason to also highlight them. Turn it off. It's distracting for no reason. There are other settings under usability that you can change for your own preference. You can if you use a reticle, you can change the reticle color. I keep mine off. You can, enemies, I have nameplate highlighting on enemies only. You can change that to whatever you want. There are things that are definitely preference, but the ones that I heavily covered and told you, change the setting. So what I'm telling you, I promise you, it will be a better experience. You will enjoy the game more. It will make your performance better, whether that's slightly or a big deal, depends on the setting. And then for any video settings, just play with them. Try changing settings at a time if you're trying to up your FPS. I've messed with these a lot. Like, I've spent a lot of time on this, to the point where I was about to bring someone in who does it professionally on games to min-max my stuff, but I've got to a point where mine is pretty consistent with this. I am running a graphics card that should be able to run everything on max and give me like 500 FPS. It does not. It's not an option right now. Hopefully soon with some changes, we see a change. Hopefully this video helps you. I know it's a pretty basic video. I've just never done this, and I've been getting these questions way more with Smite 2 than I ever got in Smite 1. So I wanted to make the update and break things down for you. Hopefully it helps. If it does, drop a comment. Make sure you're liking the video, and make sure you're subscribed. I'll see you in the video later tomorrow, the next day, and the next day.